Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Most sports car series start their season under the Florida sun, and why not? The chances of cold and snow are sorely limited. Just don't go back in history and check me. I'm well aware of snowmen and Daytona prototypes. Even with that fact, one of the best tracks to start your season, none other than the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. It's the season opener and a new era of the Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment featuring their GT Propel Sports Car Challenge. And you'll catch it live on Apex Racing TV. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're watching us around the world. My name is Jeremy Scott. Myself and Tristan Herbst are filling in for Greg Ginsburg and Larry Leftley McLeod this week, and the venerable Jonathan Grabowski making it sound oh so good back in the truck, giving you the sights and sound live and in Memorex. Well, Tristan, it's great to work with you on a Monday evening, Tuesday morning where you're at, but nonetheless, this is the World Center Racing. A win here is what everybody wants on their resume.
Definitely so, especially for a first round like this, a round opener at Daytona. And with three classes as well, it's going to prove to be quite an interesting race. And I've got to say, I do not mind at all getting up at such an early time in the morning to watch some of this racing. And obviously this season, we've got the addition of the GT3 class. So very, very interesting what we're going to be seeing today. Obviously, we've got the LMP3s, GT3s, and the GT4s all going around circuit here at Daytona. Like you say, an inaugural circuit to start off your season. And, I mean, obviously, we've already gotten our way into qualifying. A couple of drivers already getting those lap times in. But we'll see those lap times will still continue to scale as we go on.
Let's talk about that. They have the GT3 class, as you said, new this year. Only open to drivers who have run GT3 AM in the World Challenge Series or would otherwise not qualify at the pro level. And this year is limited to 10 entries. There are no pro or AM divisions of GT4 this year. And fuel has been set, so we'll see 40 to 45 minute long stint in this hour-long race. Now, you take a look at the left-hand side of your screen. Obviously, you know what the LMP3s look like. They are the mini prototypes, as we like to call them, as you see going around the International Horseshoe. Then you have your GT3 class, which on the eyebrow banner, on the windshield, the winglets, the mirrors, you'll see the lime green as we're watching the BMW make its way around. That is the number 6 of Neil Weston. He is your provisional pole sitter. And then you go to GT4, red on the, supposed to be red, but either way. Yeah. But there we go. Well, Tristan, here's the thing. Either way, a GT3 you can tell from a GT4 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, definitely. So it's obviously they still follow in terms of the GT class, but GT4 a much smaller car. Very easy to identify. I mean, you can see it. It's got a lot less body modifications in order to pull out that speed. It'll also be slightly slower on track. So that will be your speed index for tonight's racing. You'll see the LMP3s will lap the fastest here around Daytona. Then it goes down to the GT3s. And then after that, the GT4s. And then we see Mr. Jeff Jacobs in the GT4, the Ford Mustang. Nice to see it out here at Daytona, meeting it at its home. And also still trying to get a couple of lap times in, down with a 53 right now. And about 2 or so seconds off from Mike Dam up in first for the GT4s. And then obviously they've got quite a bit of a distance to the GT3s. Pole for Noah Hogg with a 145.1. So you can see the time differentiation between the two classes. And then obviously Zach Herbert in first for the LMP3s with a 142.5. So the split is slightly smaller between GT3 and LMP3. So expect them to have slightly closer racing yet today.
We do have an interview here for this qualifying session. We'll see if we can bring him in. I think he's still on track, but I would imagine it wouldn't be too hard to talk to us and go on track at the same time. It is Bobby Childs. He's the driver of the number 17 Ligier, currently sitting 5th fastest in class. And I'll go ahead and drag him up, Jonathan, right here. Bobby, it's Jeremy and Tristan in the booth. I know you just got out of the West Horseshoe. Let's see what you can do here on the oval, but welcome into the booth while you're driving at the same time.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Doing pretty good. All right, so a couple of big changes so far this year. We touched on them a little bit. You're adding in GT3, and there's no Pro or Am in GT4, just straight up GT4.
That's exactly right, and I'm heading up to one of the biggest changes of this season. Give me 1 second.
Man, I love how you can hear the Ligier just roaring in the background over there as it takes the chicanes.
Oh, man, I gained time on entry, but I'm losing it on exit. Oh, crap. Let's see.
Bobby just
I got a 44.2 going. Let's see. Oh, man, it's climbing. Oh, no. Let's see.
You can see the
2.4,
yellow sectors
2.38
at the end, yeah.
Okay, what do we got?
Improvement.
Oh.
So 145, 144.2. I mean, slightly slower there, but I mean, other than that, how's the car feeling as qualifying is scaled? Obviously, 5 minutes left, but have you finished off all your laps? You still got one more.
Oh no, that's it. That was all she wrote. That's all I got. This off season's been a very get things ready for the next season off season, not get seat time off season. So, I'm just, I'm going to take what I can get. We should have more LMP3s out here tonight, but we had some guys not attend for I don't know why, but so I'll take my P6 I'm going to get, I guess.
And I mean,
I'll take the blame.
Yeah, I've got one more, and then Jeremy can take you again. Obviously, you've added in the GT3s and you've removed one of the GT4 classes. How are you expecting the racing to change now with 3 completely different classes? Obviously, 3 different speeds in terms of lap times. So how are you expecting that all to unfold with traffic management and such, especially here at Daytona for round 1?
Well, I really expect it to be almost like a slightly slower version of the old WeatherTech series when they had, DPI and GTLM and GTD. And that's really kind of the vibe that we're going for here. Of course, we're, replicating the real life VP Fuel. And we invited, our AM drivers from World Challenge to come in and drive GT3 to get some more time. Get some more seat time, get some more experience in the cars. So we really think it's going to be cool. We're hoping we can get some more drivers out here in the GT4 class. We think it's going to be a ton of fun. And like I said, really reminiscent of those, what I like to call the peak WeatherTech days.
And that's yeah, I could see that. Now, what was the whole reasoning by adding in the GT3 class? You did touch on a little bit that it feels like the VP Sports Car Challenge, and looking at it, it really does.
Yeah, that's what we strive for here at XMS. We're an IMSA-based league, so we really are going to try to replicate that IMSA experience for sports car racing fans. There are tons of series on iRacing for just GT like SRO, and there are places you can go to run WC style stuff, but here we really like leaning on that IMSA relationship. We really love American sports car racing, and so that's what we try to put out for our drivers and for our viewers.
Tristan?
No, I'm all good. I think I've asked all my questions here for Bobby. You got anything else?
No, I don't. I'm actually really looking forward to this because this is a new layout for me, to say the least, having what is basically a VP Sports Car Challenge-esque layout. So congratulations. It looks like a decent start so far. Good luck later on tonight.
Yeah, and I just want to say a quick shout out to Frank Rico at Ricmotech and all his staff. We're pushing the GT Pro pedals now. That's what the series is named for. And we appreciate them remaining on board, and we hope everyone enjoys the broadcast.
Bobby Childs for you, and I hope so too for our own sake. Driver of the number 17 Ligier 60 class, and joining us here in the booth. Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
All right, before we step away from qualifying, we want to say that the race tours are funded by the SCCA Foundation. Visit them at the sccafoundation.org. The SCCA Foundation provides funding for the SCCA Academy, training the next generation of race worker and volunteers that make road racing events possible. Well, the checker flag is out on this session. Your overall and fastest is Zach Herbert with a 1:42. So quite interesting to see what the speed difference. And for some of these drivers, it's going to be the first time that they run with GT3s, LMP3s, and all that. Zach Herbert, your pole sitter, with Alex Crow alongside. Then you go to row 2, Robert Schwenkler and Josh Vidal. And row 3, Tristan, and rounding out your LMP3 podium, it's Pan Hydre and Bobby Childs.
Yeah, and then taking it there from the GT3s, Dale Maxwell starts up in front. Overall, though, in 7th. Neil Weston just a bit further behind in 8th. Noah Hogg takes 9th for the Velocity Motorsports team, and Aaron Sunday will take 10th position. Greg Brockway will be down in 11th, with John Casey rounding off that 6th row in 12th. A little bit further behind is Doug Klimovich in 13th, and Chris Hampton rounding off that final spot for the GT3s in 14th. Then Mike Dam starts off your GT4s in 1st, 15th overall, with Dan Carrido in 16th. Then further behind, we've got Travis Schwenke down in 17th, just behind Robert Hartley in 18th position overall. 19th, David Klimovich, and rounding off this 20-car total grid, Jeff Jacobs sitting down in the GT4s. And we'll have to see what they can all do, but the pace car is officially away. And it's quite a short pace slip, if you have to ask me.
And that's actually fantastic because we don't have to, don't have to really tap dance around a pace lap, 3.56 miles here. And it gives me less time to say, I miss the grass in the Le Mans chicane or bus stop. And if you're vintage like me, but nonetheless, the LMP3s making their way around the circuit with the pace car in tow as we see everybody split. Now, the call to green will come from the race director, and that should be somewhere. So I take a look at my notes here. Should be somewhere right by pit in is where the indicator is for the start of the green. And of course, also there's no passing until you get past the start finish line. So that'll be quite interesting. Full course caution restarts will be single file with each class having their own green called. Also, if you want to race with these guys, you have until round 3 to register. xmsracing.com/GSC-shop is the place to do it. The Porsche pace car pulls off a pit in. Great to have you with us here at the Daytona International Speedway. We wait for the call, and indeed it is. Green flag is out. Zach Herbert with an interesting start already. He gets out to a good start. Schwenkler goes up to second with Alex Crow falling in line to third. Everybody tiptoeing their way around turn number 1, 4th, 5th, 6th, and third, 4th, 5th, and 6th, all side by side. And Tristan, so far so good as the field makes their way around. Let's take a look at the GT3 start.
Yeah, GT3 just starting off now. Dale Maxwell is already starting to. You can see the pressure from behind. I don't think they've started just as of yet, as they're still starting to come around. But most of the drivers are slowly starting to get up to speed. But a great start from Dale Maxwell. He's already pulled 5/10 ahead of the rest of the grid behind. And Noah Hogg 1 position up. Neil Weston's lost out, but now he's just cancelled out in his BMW, coming back to attack. And there's the GT4 start. Mike Dam starts it off. Travis Schwenke's already up 1. And Dan Corrido's down 1 position just on race start. Great dive up on the inside from Travis Schwenke. Same with David Klimovich, who's now switching around there with Robert Hartley a little bit further behind. But for Mike Dam, again, good pull-off. So great pull-off from all 3 of our starters here in all 3 classes. They've managed to keep the lead quite consistent here and hope to continue to push here. So Mike Dam will now further extend that 6/10 lead as well for Dale Maxwell, who's already 1 second up in that GT3 class. And he'll continue to try and push. He has Noah Hogg, though. He's got Neil Weston just a bit further behind. He's already a position down from Noah Hogg as he got the jump on that turn 1. And now he'll continue to try and push to chase on to Dale Maxwell.
And it's Porsche over BMW going down the back straightaway. You see Dale Maxwell, who is, he's already has a sizable lead. It's 0.3 of a second separating the two of them. And now we'll get to see what this 992 can do on the high banks. A little bit of a more compromised exit than you would think going on to the oval portion. And that Porsche opens up its legs. Hebert, your leader right now, 47.509, fastest so far. And he's already opened up a 1.5 second lead, but we're watching this battle for second place. Let's see what happens. Does Weston catch up? And really, Hogg and Weston have finally caught up to Maxwell. Here goes Hogg to the inside, side by side for the lead, but Maxwell going to be able to muscle around the long way.
Yeah, that was a great catch-up there from Noah Hogg. I mean, we just saw in the back straight, obviously through the chicane section there, Dale Maxwell had about a 9/10 lead, and that just started dissipating very quickly as they got into the back straight. The slipstream definitely did assist. He has the GT4s, though, and there is action all over the place. Dan Corrido trying to chase back to get his second place back that he lost to Travis Schwenke. And he's, you can see the green Porsche just up in front. It's all 3 wide. Actually, the top 5 are all the Porsche GT4. So you can see the domination here coming at Daytona. Seems to be the right pick here for car choice, and all 3 of them trying to chase down Dan Corrido, getting closer and closer to the backside there of Travis Schwenke. And Mike Dam, he did pull away with a bit of a gap, but down to 4/10 now, as the likes of Travis Schwenke has managed to pull back. Same with Robert Hartley, just behind the likes of Dan Corrido. Back up towards your LMP3 class, though, it looks like Zach Hebert, 2.1 second of a gap now to the driver in second. That's Robert Schwenkler, and Josh Vidal just a bit further behind him.
You're seeing the draft that Crow has off of Vidal. Now he tries to pop out on the outside, heading into the tri-oval, but the momentum will not carry him around into that bottom step of the provisional podium as they're still side by side through turn 1. Can Vidal use that outside line around turn 1? Yes, he does, as he goes around and shuts the door. Move Vidal up to, I should say, no, move, keep Crow there. Move it all to 4th place as Crow, the Canadian, tried to do all he can to get up 1 more spot. Schwenkler has that 2nd spot after an early race pass. So lots to play for here. And you mentioned that GT4 class, it is full of Porsche Caymans, but the only non-Porsche Cayman is Jeff Jacobs in the number 38 sitting back there. So right there, you're on board with the Mustang, as he basically is the only Mustang out there in the GT4 class.
Yeah, overall, Mustang none even featured in the GT3 class, and that's actually our league admin of Jeff Jacobs. So having a bit of a struggle in the GT4 class, about 30 seconds off from Klimovich in 5th position, but still towards the top. Mike Dam is able to keep that lead quite headstrong. And also Bobby Childs, our number 17, who we spoke to, moves up into 5th position, just overtaking Pan Hyraday, who seemed to have a bit of a difficult start towards the beginning of this race. But it is still scaling up for most of the divisions here, as lots and lots of orange numbers on the left side of your screen. The live timings tower orange does indeed represent a sub 5/10 difference between drivers. So when you see orange on the left, know that there might be a battle imminent coming. You can see it with the GT4s. There's a couple of our orange and yellow numbers flashing on the left side. It's in the GT3s as well, and slightly less prominent in your LMP3s. But it does mean that there is still action waiting for us, and we might have to keep our eyes open here. Lots and lots of things to watch out for. But for the time being, there we see it. Sunday gets a bit of a move. Aaron Sunday moves up into 4th, and John Casey does lose out there down to 5th in the GT3 class.
Of course, something else I was watching as the GT4s were coming off of the road course portion, the LMP3s were heading there. Here's Aaron Sunday, and then we'll see how that pass happened with Sunday and Casey, as we have a change in position in GT3. And yeah, just for some reason, it seems like those Porsches are getting some compromised exits off of the bus stop, or Le Mans chicane, I should say. And here's the battle that I saw between Noah Hogg, I should say between Hogg and Maxwell. Hogg tried to go to the outside, but Maxwell able to defend here in the GT3 with a nice late braking move into turn number 1. And it seems like that the correct me if I'm wrong, Tristan, but while both the Corvette and the Porsche are mid-engine cars, it seems like as of late the Corvette is a little bit more balanced than the 992.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Porsche 992 is a rear engine, completely a rear engine, and the Chevy is a mid-engine. So slightly different balance between the two. Obviously, completely different braking models between them as well. But I would imagine that the Corvette will have slightly better top-end speed compared to the Porsche. It's obviously never been its strong suite to have a top speed advantage. But when it comes to cornering and keeping that speed up through high-speed chicanes, it definitely has the advantage there. So I feel like that's a very big factor to what you keep mentioning about the Porsches. They're having compromised exits coming onto that back straight, and it's allowing them to become vulnerable from behind no matter the other car class. And there we actually see Dale Maxwell 2 positions down now. Neil Weston moves up into 2nd, and he's actually got a yellow flag for a slowdown. So not too sure what's happened to Maxwell. They're up in 3rd position for the GT3s, as we still keep our eyes over here, the battle for 1st position in the GT4s.
And of course, I got my Porsches mixed up. Here's a replay of that slowdown penalty, and right there, you just dip a wheel off, and that's oh wait, that's the battle for the lead. It's Noah Hogg. Maxwell had a slowdown penalty, so that'll do it each and every time. You don't want to go wide because that'll mess you up. And I got my Porsches mixed up. I forgot it's the Cayman that's the mid-engine, not the 992. That's one more notch in me not going back to a Porsche-led series this year. Here's your leader running away with the field. It's Zach Hebert. 2.2 seconds separates 1st and 2nd place. But here's the thing, Alex Crowe last time by 43.072. That's the fastest lap of the race. You see him there as he's just a half second behind Schwenkler, still within drafting distance heading into the Le Mans chicane. We'll see if how much he can close up there. Not able to close up just enough. It's interesting, I was reading the chat and a lot of people were saying, wait, nobody is ended up in the airport next door because that Le Mans chicane, it's very treacherous. Doesn't matter if it's here in the system or in real life. You screw up there and you're going to screw up big time.
Yeah, definitely. So it's got a lot of high sausage curves, and one wrong mistake, and that could see your car bouncing the wrong direction. Maybe it'll grow a pair of wings and depart its way to London Heathrow. You never know. But for the time being, they thankfully stay within the borders here of Daytona, and thankfully we've got a little bit of action here. Oh, never mind, the action is gone. Unfortunately, Schwenkler completely loses it there. I believe that was Schwenkler. Indeed, it was. Just losing the traction into the entrance of the corner there. Free position for Alex Crowe, Josh Vidal, and Bobby Childs, who all move up here. Was there possibly contact here between Schwenkler and Crowe? I'm not too sure as they come into that first corner, and unfortunately just a bit of a braking error there from Schwenkler, locking on the rears, and we'll spin it around. Thankfully, no contact though for the driver.
And chat, that is what we call a commentator's curse. And of course, that just happens here in turn one. The back end wants to swap around. Alex Crow sitting with the fastest lap of the race. We're still watching this battle for fourth between Childs and Schwenkler. Childs getting that advantage over Schwenkler, but we'll see if the 235 has his way and can get around that Florida Blue number 17 as they work their way around the tri-oval. So lots to play for here in this first race. We're already a tenth of the way into the, more than 10 minutes into this race. Let's just go with that. But still, a lot has happened in a short amount of time already, Tristan.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. The LMPs are, it's a car class that doesn't have ABS, correct?
Yeah,
okay, cool. So yeah, so the LMP, it makes sense though. So obviously your GT3s and your GT4s, they'll feature some neat electronics combining the TC and the ABS, but obviously your LMP3s, no ABS whatsoever, and that's exactly why we saw that mistake from Schwenkler. One wrong bit of braking coming into a heavy braking zone, and unfortunately those tires decide to not cooperate, and you do lose out indeed. But he does take over from Bobby Childs. Now back up to fourth he will go, but Childs actually takes over again, so it's a good fight between the two over there. But we're currently on board. Neil Weston is chasing for the lead over here, just behind Noah Hogg, and you can see the slight speed advantage there to the BMW M4, the front engine straight six chasing onto the backside of this Porsche. What can he do to try and get around? We might be seeing a position being made in the next couple of laps, but he is playing it nice and safe. There's no risky dive bombs here in this league. Oh, a little bit of a bumper tap there, it looked like, between the two as they keep on trying to push. But the Corvette of Dale Maxwell has indeed joined back in this fight. He did lose a bit of pace, but he's definitely still here to contest for that first position.
Yeah, Weston with a nice little defense into the international horseshoe. That has given Hogg a chance to open up a couple tenths of a second. Maxwell, though, trying to get back into second place so he can defend for that lead once again. And we'll see. I'll tell you what, that BMW just looks slick on the high bank. So Weston, once he gets back on there, I know he's going to close in on Noah Hogg, but it's just a matter of if he can capitalize on the fact that that Porsche is just a little sluggish coming off of the bus stop. And I think it's a little sluggish there going on to the banking. Indeed, that BMW closes in on the 992 Porsche. It's number 41 of Noah Hogg. You have John Casey going up one spot over Aaron Sunday. That's the battle for fourth place. We're watching the battle for lead in GT3. They're all separated equidistant from one another down the back straightaway. Our eyes are on the leaders. This is going to be quite interesting to see if Weston can capitalize on. Is that a little bit of a slide there? But still got a battle for position as here comes, looks like Schwenkler and Childs still in position.
Yeah, and Schwenkler trying a bit of a risky move there on the outside. You can see some of the debris sitting on that first corner and hoping not to make that same mistake he did just a couple of laps ago, but he does decide to pull it in, as Bobby Childs did have the inside line, slightly better rotation to keep his LMP3 up in front. So he remains up in fourth position. Maxwell seems to have had an issue in the GT3s. He's down to sixth position now. He has the replay. This is coming through the international chicane over here. What was the and there's your issue again, unfortunately under braking. Was that a possible curb touch as he just loses the rear there? No traction at all on that Corvette.
Had to have been. I thought I saw something happen back there, but a little tough as we're watching these beautiful race cars nice and tight on our camera. Right now, here's Josh Vettel closing in on Alex Crow down off of NASCAR Turn 2. And lap traffic is definitely starting to come into play, Tristan, as you're starting to see the GT4s mixing in with the LMP3s. Ooh, a little bit of a right rear sky high as the 990 gets a little wiggle coming off of the Le Mans chicane. And now Vettel's going to close in. Is he going to use the GT4 as a block? Yes, he will. Talk about some racecraft. That's a spin between the two of them through the banking. And Crow goes down onto the apron. Vidal goes up onto the banking. And Crow gets a slowdown penalty.
Yeah, it was very aggressive defensive moves coming over there. A complete block behind the GT4. And unfortunately, Alex Crow tried absolutely everything he could to try and get out of that slip of the GT4. Let's have a bit of a closer look at what happened. I feel like it was a complete box in there from Josh Vidal. And I mean, he did it pretty efficiently. There was slightly a little bit of pull out there from the likes of Alex Crow, and you can see just drifting right into Josh Fidel's backside. Thankfully, no contact, and he actually recovered that really well, if you have to ask me. He's back out on track. Obviously, he'll have to chase down quite a bit to chase onto the backside of Alex Crow again. He's got to get past his GT4 first, but it is rather unfortunate to see that. It was a good boxing strategy, just didn't work out well, though.
Yeah, that was, that was a textbook block right there, a safe block, but we'll see what the race stewards have to say about that. Would not be surprised if Alex Crow has to pay a little bit of penalty after that one. But nonetheless, Vidal closing in once again, although he has lost his drafting partner. You saw back there, Bobby Childs and Robert Schwenkler still battling each other for position. And there they go. They're going around that GT4 traffic once again. Oh, I love this shot on the back straightaway, having the cars just vibrate that camera, going down, watching them go into Le Mans chicane. So far, so good, as Childs gets another great exit. I know he was excited when we were talking to him about a great qualifying position because of the, as he said, lack of entrance in LMP3, but he's really holding on to that fourth place quite nicely.
Yeah, I mean, he was mentioning that there's only 6, obviously, in the LMP3 class, but he is chasing on to the podium now. Trying to catch up towards Josh Vidal. Obviously, he's got the pressure there from Robert Schwenkler, and side by side they go again. Obviously, Bobby Childs will have the inside line, but Schwenkler does confirm it this time. He completely cuts off on the inside, and that does prove a little bit challenging there. A little bit of contact between the two of them. As I've got to say, a little bit of a late cutoff there from Robert Schwenkler, completely planting his LMP3 in front of Bobby Childs. Thankfully, we don't see any spin around. Even more contact there again. Childs giving a bit of a tap on the backside of that diffuser, but it is an official overtake this time. Schwenkler does move up 1. Bobby Childs will move down 1, although he is still 1 position up. He did start 6th. He's down to 5th, as Hyraday still down in 6th position, 10 seconds off of the entire grid. So very unfortunate to see that, but obviously he's just had a bit of a slip up towards the start of the race.
Take a look at this battle for position in GT4 between Mike Dabb and Travis Schwenka. Of course, you see the LMP3 traffic making their way around. That's Josh Vidal coming around as Schwenka, because of that, it's fallen back to about a half second. So it's the accordion effect. Let's just say that is Carrito in 3rd. It's fallen back 1 since his grid spot, but there's some more LMP3 traffic up ahead. As you're watching off of the back of Carrito, there goes that battle for position in 4th between Schwenkler and Childs around the outside, as they do. That's the smart way around for the faster drivers. But nonetheless, let's see what happens here in turn 1. Well, Childs going to see if he can do what Schwenkler did going into turn number 1. They both pop out the last second. Childs looks higher, and Schwenkler goes even higher. They're going to nose to tail off one another going down into turn number 1. So far, so good. Childs not able to make anything happen. I think Childs may have a new sponsor as well.
Yeah, potentially so. I can see it's slightly changed up on his car there, but that was a great traffic management from the two of them. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought something was going to turn sour there, especially when they were literally bumper to bumper going around those Cayman GT4s. But thankfully, they managed to keep it neatly tucked in there. Obviously, Schwenkler does still stay in that leading position. It seems like if you do hold that inside line down at turn number 1, you've got a very good chance of maintaining that position or obviously overtaking if that's what you're doing. Just because of the rotation of the corner, it's quite a tight hairpin style turn. And so if you do have that inside line, you're going to have quite the advantage. And oh, there's a spin around there. John Casey is backwards out on track, and I believe that is turn number 1 as he just comes through. I believe it's turn number 1. Looks like it. As we see him here a little bit further behind. He was obviously, I don't know if he lost the position here, but this is indeed turn number 1. Same thing that Schwenkler did in the LMP3. And just losing out. Thankfully, no contact. Avoids the Merc and a couple of the other cars coming past him. And he loses out to Aaron Sunday and Greg Brockway. But still, thankfully, in the top 5. Very unfortunate spin for him, though.
Well, he didn't collect anybody. He was able to gather himself up and get going, which is basically half the battle, especially with turn number 1. And Tristan, have you been to Daytona before? Have you had a chance to watch a race at Daytona in person?
No, I mean, I've never been to America in person. I've seen them a couple of in terms of like online, watching it on a stream or something, but never in person.
It is very interesting. I've had the opportunity to both be a commentator for races at Daytona and watching. And one of the things that my first time at the Rolex, my wife and I did, is we sat up there right through turn 1 to watch the field as they went through. We watched the MX5 Cup race there. We watched the start of the Rolex, the end of the Rolex. And it's interesting to see how many drivers take different lines. You have the regular racing line, then you have the dentist line, which ends up in the wall 9 times out of 10. But that's besides the point. It's interesting to watch these cars make their way through, and what's the fastest line? Sometimes you'll see a driver take different lines throughout the different parts of the race. So, like these LMP3s, they have to work their way around traffic. So there are no 2 lines the same during the race. You think you're going to have the same line? Oh, that was close, with Mike Dam just cutting the nose off of that LMP3. Mike Dam, your leader right now in GT4, as that was here day. But regardless, I love watching, and that just goes to show you how good either a driver is or their car is, especially later on in the race. Dam, Schwenke, and Carrito 1, 2, 3 as we take a look at your GT3 leader, Noah Hogg. He's opened up a 2-second lead over Neil West, and of course, Dale Maxwell spent a couple laps ago, really helped him out as well.
Yeah, I mean, for Hogg and Weston, it seems like they're the only 2 currently competing in terms of that podium switch-up, because third position of Sunday, 13 seconds gap towards Neil Weston. So quite a lot of time to play with. Obviously, we still have 40 minutes of racing here and a pit stop that needs to come. So anything can change towards the end side of this race. But for the time being, Noah Hogg has got quite the competitive advantage yet to hold that P1, and Weston is maintaining a rough 2-second gap. It's not changing too much so far for the BMW M4 driver, as he has unfortunately broken that slip towards Hogg, so he doesn't get that speed advantage that he might want. So the Porsche will be slightly more dominant through the International Horseshoe and the bus stop chicane, and so he has to just try and chase down on pure pace. You can see the fastest lap there for the GT3 is at 144.9 for Hogg, and here comes a little bit of the traffic as well for the GT3s. Now Hogg does get past quite swiftly, and you'll see Weston in the background will also slowly start to catch up in the next coupling corners.
And of course, we're 20 minutes away from the pit window opening, less than 20 minutes away. So strategy also going to come big into play here once that happens, as you're watching your leader really open up a world of hurt on the rest of the field. Zach Hebert with a 7-second gap over Alex Crow. That is not bad for 22 minutes into this race.
No, definitely not. I mean, a 7-second gap, especially in the LMP3s and traffic management. He's definitely built himself up with quite a good advantage. It means he does have room to play with in case something does happen. Obviously, he's not betting on that, though. But we can see the gap differentiation. Obviously, Josh Vidal's about 3.5 seconds behind Alex Crow. But that main gap coming from Hebert with a 7.5-second gap. Also, not actually holding the fastest time of this race, just behind with 0.004 of a second faster is Crow with a 142.856. So very, very minimal time difference between the two. So you won't see the catch-up as prominent as we would hope for. But here is probably one of your main battles around track right now. It's Dan Carrito and Travis Schwenke as they try and stay with Mike Dam. That these top 3 have been able to stick with each other for quite some time now. It hasn't changed, though, and none of them have been able to switch around. Brockway gets ahead of Sunday in the GT3s. But for the time being, Dan Carrito, he's going to need to keep on pushing if he wants to try and jump Schwenke.
That's a wide
GT4
Dam. Yeah, Dam goes wide, so that gives Schwenke and Carrito a chance to jump on that lead. Now Dam cops a slowdown penalty. So it goes from bad to worse for your early race leader. Let's take a look at what happens. I have a feeling I know exactly what happens. It's going to be too much speed through turn 1, and indeed, he already scrubs off, and you knew where he was going from the start of that corner.
Yeah, definitely so, and unfortunately, you got the yellow flag as well for it. So even after losing 2 positions, he had to slow down slightly. So very unfortunate there for Mike Dam. He's lost that 3-way battle that he had, and he's going to have to now chase. And of course, again, commentators goes. I said the top 3 for the GT4s haven't changed for the past couple of laps, and of course it will go and happen then right after I say it. So very unfortunate there for Dan, but Carrito now chasing on Schwenke for the lead of this race.
Well, I think we're even now, Tristan, at 1 apiece. Someone on the comments said Dan must have spilled his beer. Also, Ken Copeland. Okay, that makes sense. Anyway, let's talk about why Dan got that slowdown penalty. Last week, I can't remember if I posted it here or not, but it came out that iRacing, the digital stewards, were going to penalize any driver that decided to use that wide apron throughout the race. And you basically had to stay between the wall and that white line, driver's right. So we're starting to see some of these drivers realize that iRacing was serious when they were going to basically make that out of bounds.
Yeah, definitely so. And unfortunately for Mike Dam, he definitely experienced it there. And we did see him go wide in turn number 1, unfortunately. As you mentioned, carrying far too much speed into turn number 1 and just not able to recover it whatsoever. But at least there wasn't any form of wall contact. We did see a little bit of gravel coming up from the backside of his car, but not too much. There we see the likes of Neil Weston flashing a couple of the GT4s as he tries to aggressively get past to stay on the backside of Noah Hogg, who's actually built up a bit of a gap now because of that GT4 traffic. And so now Weston will be slightly upset with that. Thankfully, he did get past quite swiftly, but now back onto the backside of Noah Hogg to chase for the lead of that GT3 class.
Well, it's a smaller gap than we saw a couple of laps ago. It's now down to 1.7 seconds, and that's actually going to be the end of the GT4 traffic for the time being. I think the next time they'll see them is just before they go into the pits, but that's giving Corrido a chance to close into Schwanke, coming off onto the oval portion of the program. Let's stay with this just a little bit as 1 to 2 car lengths separate those two cars. Alex Crowe with the fastest lap of the race so far with a 42.592. I gotta say, Schwanke using that low line coming off of NASCAR Oval 2. I don't think it's gonna do too much as Corrido slowing back just a little bit, try and get a better run through the chicane, and now we'll see if he can get a better run. No, he doesn't. So it's going to be status quo here in GT4 until they get to turn 1.
Yeah, and the slip will be a lot more minimal in the GT4 class compared to your GT3s and LMPs, also just purely because they don't break through the air as much with their top speed. They are obviously a lot slower in terms of top speed, but still well over about 200 k's an hour, but nowhere near what the LMP3s are doing, which is a huge slipstream break. But Mike Dam has joined in on this fight very much so, and you can see him in the backside. He is 100% ready to try and claim back his first position, as all three of them are practically equidistant to each other as they continue to try and push around track over here. You can see it's Shrinky from Carrido to Dam as they go through the next couple of corner sequences. Can it possibly change? It's all going to depend on corner exits here, as all three of them seem to be in a very good headspace right now. Obviously, Mike Dam did have that spin, but he seems to be back on track now in his Cayman GT4 as he continues to try and push on this podium. Can he possibly move back up to first if something happens up ahead here?
Well, here's my question, too. How much of the tires did Dam use trying to save himself from going into that tire wall there in the island? We'll have yet to find out, and I'm sure Dam's really kicking himself right there after that mistake, but Schwanke gets a better jump off of turn number 6 as Childs goes right into the pits. Not sure if this is a scheduled pit stop or what, but we'll see if how quick he goes back out in the number 17. Hydre will go around there too. But still, this battle for the lead here in GT4, really the battle for the podium, really heating up. Tristan has 1, 2, 3 there. You can throw a blanket over him. This about a second apart.
Yeah, literally, it's very, very minimal separation here between the GT4s. And obviously, with the GT3s, Aaron Sunday just gets past Greg Brockway. And now Casey gets past Brockway. Well, I'm not too sure what's happening there with Brockway. I'm not too sure if he's coming to the pits or not. But he's just lost 3 positions now in the GT3 class. So I wonder what happened to Brockway there. But it is very close between our GT4s as Carrido very under pressure now from Dam. My goodness, you can see this is getting close. Greg Brockway is out of the race currently. I'm not too sure what's happened to him. He's into the pit lane. And doesn't look like that lap time is continuing. But for the GT4s, they continue to push around. And as, there wasn't a position change there just as of yet for Dam. He did get very close onto the backside, but just not enough to make that change of position.
Here's Brockway. Looks like that he's running off a 3. Oh, that could have been nasty. He's running a little bit of cattywampus after an incident in the runoff, and yeah, he decided to take the tow back to the pits. So let's see what this is. Actually the replay of the incident. Watch what this Acura can do, which, by the way, I love seeing the Acura in the... He almost went endo there.
Well, he almost became the airplane you were speaking about earlier. I was talking about those high curbs, and he almost launched it completely vertical there. Very unfortunate there for Brockway. I mean, you could see that was heavy suspension damage. I mean, one wheel was facing left, the other was facing right, so definitely no chance for him to get back to the pit lane. But things have changed up. I mean, look at the GT3 class. It's now Neil Weston side by side for the lead here against Noah Hogg. I wonder what happened to that gap. He's completely evaporated it, and now side by side going around the oval bends. Can he possibly make a move into turn number 1? I think Hogg is going to go defensive here on the inside line, but you can see he's squirming all over the back in his BMW M4, trying to find somewhere to make this overtake. As they go across the start-finish line, it is almost rubbing against bumpers between the two of them, but Hogg with great defensive strategy, forcing the BMW out wide. Looks like he's going to keep it into turn number 1, but this is great. We've got a battle for the lead of the GT3 class.
And of course, he gets back on the track right at the time, and the GT4 comes out. That is going to be Jacobs in the Mustang, who decided to take his pit stop. Carrito gets a black flag. Problems for Carrito, Dam, and Hartley, as all three are in pit lane. They're actually all in the pit, but Carrito gets a black flag, I would imagine, for too fast entering. We'll catch that in a bit, as Weston has fallen back just a little bit over Hogg. So Hogg was able to use Jacobs as that pick, and we'll see how long the stop is for Carrito. But now Hogg has a mirror full of a BMW yellow one as they work their way around turn number 6. Weston looks to the inside of Hogg for position, and I guess that pit window is opened up a lot earlier than we thought, because Klimovich is also in the pits. Schwenka right now the only other GT4 out there other than other than Jacobs, but Hogg and Weston. Man, this battle for the lead in GT3 keeps reeling us in, and then yeah,
I think that's a bit of a race throwaway there for Carrito. Unfortunately, that black flag penalty, the drive-through penalty, is going to completely ruin the battle he was having there for the top 3, and it's very unfortunate to see. You can see him still sitting in that pit lane. Dam is already out, as well as Hartley, and he's currently sitting in that pit lane serving that penalty. Very unfortunate to see. There's Dam out in second position. 50-second gap towards Schwenke, but obviously he hasn't come in to get that pit stop done, and they're a little bit further behind. That is Travis Schwenke going around track. Dam will now play the chase game. Will the undercut strategy work? Sunday gets ahead of Casey in the GT3 class, and lots of changes happening here today. Jacobs, unfortunately, a minute and a half behind the rest of his pack, and actually he's not even going to catch Carrito after that drive-through penalty. But for the time being, Dam will now try and play this chase game. 50-second gap. I'm not too sure if that is an adequate pit window time. There we see the pit lane notification for Schwenke. Is it going to be Dam or Schwenke for the lead of this race in the GT4 class? We're only going to be able to tell as they start to get closer to each other. Schwenke is in, though, and Dam is chasing hard.
Yeah, Dam really closing in with Schwenke in the pits. He's on the jacks. 4 tires will be put on that car. Here is Dam working his way through the Le Mans chicane. Still plenty of time for Schwenke to take his pit stop, and Crow's into the pits from GT3. So you see Crow in the pit, LMP3, I should say, as Klimovich is also in the pit. So drivers kind of taking an early pit stop and making things happen. As Crow hits his marks, he's going to get on the jacks. Here comes Schwenke through the pit out, as Dam really closing in. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it. He might. 17 seconds. It all depends on where these two end up right there by pit out. Here comes Dam. He's got the fresh tires. They're all hot, I should say. Schwenke, though, he's got to get on it here shortly, and that pass may happen coming out of the International Horseshoe. But I've got to say this. Talk about luck. Schwenke continues to lead.
And I mean, the great thing to see, though, it's under a 1 second gap between the two, which means we do have a fighting chance here for the lead of this GT4 category. At least it wasn't a huge gap, because unfortunately it does make that top action slightly less appealing. But with a 6/10 difference, Dam has obviously got those warmed up tires, and you can see how he's reducing the time almost every single corner to Schwenke as he's still trying to find his grips, but a little bit further up towards the top. Hog is full of a bit of a Western behind because Western is not leaving him alone whatsoever. They've got a bit of LMP3 traffic behind that they'll have to navigate around, but for the time being, it is going to be Hog to Western, and he's been able to keep it quite well in terms of this race. I've got to say, Hog's defensive skills have really started to shine here in that gold and blue Porsche, as he's completely kept the Western behind in his green and yellow BMW M4, and he's made multiple attempts to pass, I've got to say, Jeremy, and he just hasn't been able to be successful around that Porsche.
Well, passing is catching up to one driver is one thing. Passing is another thing, as you see. You've got GT4 traffic up ahead. Bobby Child sitting back there as well, running just a little bit faster than these GT3 cars. So not sure if Childs is saving fuel for the end. He had a 22-second pit stop. So, of course, now they all catch up into this GT4 traffic. Let's see how the exit happens for Noah Hogg. He's able to go wide, and indeed he brings Weston with him. Weston also brings Childs with him down onto the NASCAR portion of the program. You're on board with the backside of Noah Hogg, still too far away for Weston to even think about something.
Yeah, I mean, he's still continuing to keep that lead quite strong. And as you can see there, they both go into the pit stop to serve it, which means that there won't be any undercut or overcut strategy coming between the two. Could we possibly see a differentiation in pit lane time over here for the two of them? It depends, obviously, how fast things go, how fast they get up on the jacks. I think both will be taking a tire change here. We'll see if the jacks do indeed go up for that tire change. As you'll see, the car will slightly elevate. I'm not seeing it just as of yet, but it might still happen. But there we see the changes. Casey gets ahead of Sunday, who also comes into the pit lane. Maxwell comes into the pit lane, and Casey then moves up to first position in the GT3 class. Hebert is also into the pit lane now. No, sorry, I believe that, yes, that is pit lane. And it's a great pit stop there for Hogg, as he still stays ahead of Weston.
Well, here's what's interesting. Hogg with a 22.15 pit stop, Weston 21.82. So that just goes to show you that pit delta time is everything. As here is your leader into the pit, Zach Hebert, as he'll go for some sort of change, as Vittle's in the pits as well. Schlenkler comes in to answer the call, so that's going to be everybody in the LMP3 class. We'll see if Alex Crow, how close he gets to the podium, as Hebert is out with a 19-second pit stop. Schlenkler also just comes into the pits. Vittle looking like he'll be released here shortly. 19, 20, 21, 21.92 seconds out of the 26. That's a long pit stop.
Yeah, definitely so for that LMP3 class, and he might lose out here to the drivers coming around. He's just exiting pit stop, and we can see there comes a couple of the GT4s. Thankfully, no LMP3s behind him to lose out on position, but he does indeed come out. He joins into a bit of traffic, and he won't be able to get past the GT4s in this corner, maybe in the next, and so you'll have to keep on the backside, the green and white LMP3 with the good orange wingtips to represent his class as he continues to push on strong. And Vidal, obviously we did see that action with Crow up a bit earlier, but thankfully it hasn't affected his race much, I've got to say, Jeremy. I mean, he's still up in third position and fighting on strong. Here we see John Casey now coming into the pit lane, and Hogg will take the lead back of the GT3 class.
And one more driver has to come in and answer the call to the pit, and that's Chris Hampton. He is right now fourth on track. You see that orange McLaren. Let's see if he comes into the pits this time. He's dipping low, and he's not going to come into the pits in that FAF liveried McLaren. So he'll take one more lap. Provisionally on the podium. He still has to pit. I would not be surprised to see him pit within the next lap or so. But yeah, pit stops didn't change too much. You see Hebert, your leader in LMP3, Noah Hogg, and Neil Weston still going toe-to-toe in GT3. And Travis Schwenke with a half-second lead over Mike Dam right now, working their way around some LMP3 traffic. Yeah, so they're going around Bobby Childs, I think. No.
That's Vidal. That's a confusing view. He looks, I think he's had a bit of an incident. That's quite slow for an LMP3 driver. especially for the GT4s to be coming around the outside line. Here's Vidal coming through to the bus stop, and no, I mean, there's the accident. Yeah, complete rear end lift up. And that makes a lot more sense why we see a GT4 contesting on the straight with an Olympia 3.
Well, I think you've seen the reel that's going around the socials where the driver's sitting there. I've made 2 purple sectors. See me screw up this 3rd one, and he goes right head on into that tire wall there in the 4th part of the chicane.
Yeah, I definitely see the trend. It's quite a funny one, especially when it's so unexpected. 2 purple first sectors, and then all of a sudden it's just a huge impact. I gotta say it's funny, but also unfortunate at the same time. But for the GT4s, it is still Travis Schwenke behind, but Mike Dam 6/10 behind him. Obviously with traffic it might change up slightly, but here is Bobby Childs, slightly similar livery to Vidal. I see the minor confusion we might get between them. The blues and greens are similar between them, as he now gets past the GT4 traffic and continues to push on. But Western 6/10 behind Hogg. We could also see a bit of a change there in that GT3 class.
And indeed we will, because Chris Hampton is in the pits. Perfect time for us to take a quick pit stop here on Apex Racing TV. Zach Hebert, your leader in LMP3 and overall here at Daytona.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sportscar Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
It's the season opening race for the Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment, featuring their GT Pro pedals here at the Daytona International Speedway. Jeremy Scott, Tristan Herbst alongside with Jonathan Grabowski punching the buttons and, of course, moving the sliders for the volume here. It's been an interesting race so far, and, of course, also it's a kind of a historic race, Tristan, as GT3 gets their debut here in the Ricmotech High Performance Sim Racing Sports Car Challenge.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely given us a great race to start with. Obviously, the main battle has been the two up front over here between Hogg and Weston. And, I mean, maybe after that ad break, we could potentially see Weston getting past Hogg, because for the entire beginning of this race, all the way up until the 40-minute mark, Weston hasn't been able to get past, and there he looks up on the inside, and he's starting to get very aggressive and trying to get that position done. You can see he's starting to get a little bit tired of seeing that blue bumper of that Porsche 992. So maybe, just maybe, Jeremy, we can maybe see a jump up there from the likes of Weston.
Yeah, Weston wants to be the driver who puts his name as the first GT3 winner here in the Ricmotech Sports Car Challenge. Making his way around the West Horseshoe. Oh, that was a little bit of a slide there from Noah Hogg. And neither driver, remember, took tires. They just packed their cars full of fuel. So it'll be interesting to see if and when the tires do go off. Remember, Noah Hogg, in spite of him being up 2, really has held the point since he took the lead a little bit before midway in this race. Got around Dale Maxwell. Of course, Maxwell spun off in the the Le Mans chicane. And it's been these two ever since. It was Hogg, Weston, and Maxwell all in pursuit of one another. But once Hogg got out in front, it's been tough for some of these drivers to catch up and make something happen. Oh, you see, there goes Weston closing in on Noah Hogg on that second half of the chicane. So he's got his number there. But Tristan, I'm wondering if he's tried everything that he has in the book and won, or if he's saving something for later in the race.
I mean, you never know. I mean, like you talk about, tire wear is going to be very crucial for the two of them, especially because tires haven't been switched out. And I mean, if we're looking at GT3 endurance racing, the average stint time for a GT3 car is about an hour to 15, an hour to 10. Obviously, the fuel tanks can run about 110 to 120 liters. But obviously, that's also with an endurance setup. This will obviously be a completely different setup on these cars. So tire wear could potentially be a lot higher than it normally is. And so Weston maybe playing a bit of a safer game, pushing Hogg to be a bit more defensive on the car, trying to get his tire wear down slightly. As you know, it's gonna be more tire wearing on the opposition to continuously try and dive, try and make your way around the outside, get all that debris on your tires. And so maybe for Weston, very different braking characteristics between those two cars and those two driver choices there. You can see it as Weston always closes in on that corner. But I agree with you there. I think Weston, possibly in the last 10 minutes of this race, is going to use the last bit of that tire life and try and get ahead of Hogg.
And I think he's going to do it right there in that West Horseshoe, as it seems like Hogg gets on the brakes, but then the car likes to juke to the left just a little bit. Not sure if it's from the steering input or if it's just the way that the car is wiggling and how it's balanced going into that heavy braking zone. Because remember, you're going through the kink right there. And the car's still a little bit unsettled. That was a little bit of a launch off Weston. Almost was a bit of a show there, as Weston's going to lose about 1/10 of a second.
I was about to scratch off the M4 badge on the back and put on an A320 200 badge. He was about to launch over the gate over there, but thankfully he does not. Back onto the GT4s though. He has Schwenke versus Dam. And again, it's a similar situation. Dam can't seem to get past Schwenke just as of yet. He is reducing that gap though. I think it was about 6 to 7 tenths before the break. And now it's about 3 to 4 tenths, as we've seen, obviously, depending on the corner. So we could possibly see a bit of a change if Dam decides to make a move, or if Schwenke makes even one mistake. The very hungry Dam, who did make a mistake earlier on, he was leading the race. And then after that wide entry into turn number 1, completely ruined the shots over there. So let's see if he can do something in the next couple of corners. Hopefully, he can reclaim that top spot.
Of course, it's very fitting with Daytona. For some of you vintage racers yourself, you'd understand this reference. That jump by Weston was reminiscent of the Joey Chitwood thrill show, to say the least. Maxwell going up one spot over Casey in GT3, but still this battle for GT4. Oh, that's why, because Casey spun off once again in turn number 1, and don't think that he took anybody with him. Let's take a look at this replay, and with him being all by himself, I have a feeling I know exactly where this is going, and it's going nowhere good. Yeah, just a slide. That back end wants to see what the front end is looking at. It almost looked into the side of Dale Maxwell.
That was very, very close. Dale Maxwell definitely picked, I think, likes of Casey was opening up that inside line for the driver to pass, but Maxwell takes the outside line, and he just had enough space. I mean, he was scraping on the grass there, but here we go. Officially side by side between the two. The outside, top end side of the oval for Dam, and on the inside is Schwenke behind. We know how this usually goes. The inside will hold the attacking position here on turn number 1, and as you can see, there's the advantage for Schwenke, and unfortunately, Dam gets chucked out wide and loses that fighting opposition. He needs to get onto that inside line if he wants to make the position stick. And I think that's going to be one of the best places for him to try and make that overtake. Obviously, 100% identical cars between the two of them here. And so they need to pick different lines. Like you say, you've been here in real life. It's always different line choices between the drivers, especially with traffic. And so he needs to choose a line that's going to benefit him.
He does. Zach Heberg logs another fastest lap of the race, 42.254. Hogg and Weston, though, they're closing in on some lap traffic, and we'll see if Hogg can use that as a little bit of a pick. Schwenke and Dam, though, they've gone off and run their own race. So these are the two battles, and thankfully they're both battles for the lead in class. You see a little bit of Clag getting kicked up here on the circuit as, oh man, I'll say this, Weston look to the inside around turn number 6, and here we go. We see the GT3s closing in on the GT4s. So they're just going to go around. Hogg knows that he doesn't have to worry about playing block just yet, but Weston, oh, he might use that GT4 as a pick going into the Le Mans chicane, but the GT4 decides to think better of it. I think that's it's definitely one of it's Hartley in the 3rd spot as they work their way around the chicane once again. You see that Weston just gets that better exit. That's just because the Porsche is so tough on that bus stop chicane. So we can take a breather for that. Let's go over the GT4. Looks like that is closed in as well as they're nose to tail through the tri-oval. Schwenke and Dam side by side. And Dam going to try to go high, wide, and handsome once again. He's got the nose out front. Can he keep it there? No, he's going to go off once again. No surprise there. He might even cop a slowdown penalty as well. Indeed, he does.
Yeah, that was a little bit too optimistic, you have to ask me, from Dam. Very, very wide line. I almost thought he completely got ahead there and somehow just disappeared up in front, but unfortunately off wide outside of that wide line, and that is indeed going to be a slowdown. You can see up to 0.5 of a difference now between the two, and we actually have the GT3 leaders just a bit behind them, so this could possibly play into a bit of a complicated role between the two, because it's the fight for the lead in both divisions, and here they are coming up on each other, which means they're not going to want to concede as easily as a normal back marker would, because they're both fighting ever so close to overtaking that driver up in front. Obviously, like you mentioned, the BMW M4 GT3 will tackle those curbs slightly better, slightly higher ride height on that front engine compared to the Porsche's rear as they continue to push around track. That BMW, though, we have to watch out for him, Jeremy. He's done it now 3 times on that final curb coming out of the bus stop chicane where he does jump that BMW a little bit. So he has to watch out because it did lose him a lot of time the last time he decided to take flight.
Yeah, that's not going to be any good for anybody if he does that. And I'm glad that we're sitting here because I don't want to be the stewards having to call this race. And it's going to close in that battle for the lead. Oh, Weston goes wide. So Weston's going to go wide and he's going to lose a lot of momentum going through the Le Mans chicane. He could have capitalized here. And now he's going to use the GT4s as draft partners. Around the outside he goes. So Weston, that could have been a good pass for the lead. Decides better of it. Not sure what happened there going into Le Mans chicane. Hartley with a slowdown penalty, kind of inconsequential as he's fallen way back in 3rd place, and Weston too far away to make anything happen. Same goes for Dam. So our usual suspects going into, this might change though here, into the International Horseshoe. Weston closes in big time on Hogg, but he's not going to pull a Paul Miller, and he's going to stay behind the Porsche.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been talking about the action so much, I don't even think we'd realized. I mean, Jeremy, there's 8 minutes left of this race. And so for the likes of Weston and Dam, if the two of them are wanting to make a change for position, as you see Casey getting ahead of Maxwell again after his spin, they need to do it now. I mean, we're talking about Weston probably using that final bit of his tire life to perform this position change in this last 10 minutes. Well, now's the time. He's only got about 7 minutes left of racing here to do it. He's on the inside line, though, as he tries to look for a gap around this Porsche. This is the closest he's been as of yet, jumping onto the backside oval here. Almost 2/10 under between the two of them, and the Porsche is actually slightly pulling away here. Better exit there from Hogg. Weston now on the backside in his BMW M4. Can we see a possible change here as they come towards that bus stop chicane? Can the BMW stay grounded, or will he unfortunately hit an unfortunate curb? It's a much faster through the chicane there for Neil Weston in terms of the entrance, but as of the exit, it's a little bit of a back flick there. Very close between the two of them.
Did you see that Scandinavian flick right there, ladies and gentlemen? That could be the difference in the lead for GT3. Here comes Neil Weston closing in on Noah Hogg. Does he go high? Because Noah's not going to let him take the low line through turn one. He closes in ever so slightly down through the tri-oval. 0.087 seconds separates the two of them at the line. Hogg gets on the outside. Hogg was the one who got a little wide. West is going to go to the inside now. He's going to go do the over-under. They're almost side by side through turn two. Then he thinks better of it. Here comes Weston. Hogg's going to take the defensive line around the horseshoe. They're side by side for the lead in GT3. Here comes Hogg, back to the lead. Hogg has it for the time being.
Oh my goodness, that was close. The BMW almost got past there on the exit of that corner, unfortunately going slightly too wide. And very easy for Hogg to block off. But again, here they go, same thing, and just too wide for the BMW on the outside line. Not enough traction. You could see a bit of slip there coming from Weston, and he has to tuck in back behind the Porsche. Childs get ahead of Vidal for fourth position. Vidal's got a meatball. Not too sure what's happened for Vidal on the LMP3s. He's had an incident, and we'll have a look at that shortly, but I think it's a little bit important yet to see what happens. Here's Vidal, though, as he fights on strong. I believe that's with Robert Schwenkler coming into that bus stop. Was there a bit of an error being made? And there it is, into the entrance of the bus stop. And, oh, that's a hard hit on the front right side.
And that was the battle for third place at the time in LMP3. As you see that battle for the lead in GT4, also hitting up to Schwenka. And damn, they've got a LMP3 ahead of them. That's no harm, no foul, though. As you see, the LMP3 just faster through the straightaways. Around the Le Mans chicane they go once again. And still, less than 5 minutes left to go in this race. And the battle for the two classes, they're really heating up.
Yeah, definitely so. And I mean, like we've spoken about, this is the time for them to do it. 5 minutes, actually 4.5 minutes left of racing here. Dam and Weston, the two drivers that everybody's got eyes on, the two drivers that keep on getting within a perfect attacking distance, but because of that layout of turn number one, it is proving very difficult for them to get past. It is so easy for them to defend, and as you can see, Dam's actually gotten ahead now. Could this possibly be it? He's gone deep and he's made it work. What a position change there for Dam. The outside finally working for him and taking quite a neat sweeper overtake on Schwenke. Up into first place, he reclaims that. We'll get a bit of a replay of this. You can see the pull here on that main straight coming through the start-finish line. Here he pulls out to the right-hand side. You think it might be the same thing he's done, lap countless over times, but he actually gets ahead into the braking zone. And that's exactly the important difference. Well into the lead there, and a great jump into P1 for Mike Dam.
What a fantastic pass for the lead here in GT4, though I don't think that is over. Something's happened to Weston, as he is now 1.1 seconds behind Noah Hogg, your GT3 leader. Might have been the LMP3 traffic that was affected, as Hogg now making his way through the Le Mans chicane. And yeah, once again, oh, that's a little bit of a bump on the sausage curbs. So that'll help Weston out just a little bit, especially on the banking going through there, as Hogg goes a little bit higher, trying to pick up some speed, I should say, not scrub off some speed, but still 1 second. So now Weston has to do all he can to get back up to that GT3 lead. Let's go back to the GT4 battle where, as I said, I don't think that battle's over, as Schwenka still has something left for Dam.
Yeah, and he's still got about 2 minutes yet to play with. He could possibly pull another switchback against Dam over here, because that, like you mentioned, that distance between each other is definitely not over just as of yet. 3.5 tenths between first and second. Unfortunately, the battle for the GT3 lead has kind of died down with Weston losing out completely, obviously getting stuck in that LMP3 traffic. But this is where it's at. Schwenker now 2 tenths on the backside of Dam. And he's going to have to play very defensive here into the next couple of laps. He doesn't have a lot of time left that he has to defend. About a 1 minute 51 second lap time here for these GT4s, which means this is going to be the second last lap for them. It's a 2 minute start as they've just come across the finish line. This is the second last lap for the GT4s, and they'll have to keep on going and pushing on strong for Dam, because he's got quite a bit of opposition from behind from Schwenker. His race is definitely not over.
As the next time Zach Hebert crosses the line, it'll be white flag, 1 lap to go, as Schwenka holding on There is your leader coming off of NASCAR 4, and yeah, he will see the white flag this time by, as now that battle for, you see the battle for the GT3 lead, it's non-existent. It's going to take a miracle at this point for Weston to catch up to Hogg, and this is probably one of the miracle points that Hogg is hoping for, sorry, Weston's hoping for, is something to happen again on the bus stop chicane course. He also does not have to do make any mistakes, but regardless, what a fantastic race out of Zach Hebert thus far. He comes down past the pit in, he looks up at Barney, white flag, 1 lap to go.
1 lap to go indeed. It's all down to him now. Thankfully, he doesn't have too much pressure from behind. 8-second of a gap to Alex Crow. But the more important factor is these two at the backside, the GT4s, now fighting on for the overall first position in class. What can they do to keep on pushing on strong? Dam will still keep the lead as they come around to start their final lap of racing here for today's racing of round number 1 at Ricmotech Sportscar. What can they do, though? As you can see, Dam is slowly starting to weave a little bit, break the slipstream from behind. He takes the outside line. He's actually opening up the inside there slightly for Schwenke, but he follows him just behind. Here comes traffic from behind, though, of the LMP3s, and we could potentially see this throwing them off a little bit, and we'll have to keep our eyes there. Bit of a curb jump there for Mike Dam. As they come through the next couple of corners, he really has to maintain his focus here.
Yeah, he really does. We'll see what he can do here on this final lap. A couple of fast cars, GT3 and an LMP3. The LMP3 gets by quite easily as they work their way around. That Schwenkler right there in the number 235 right now, sitting at third. Oh, that was a little bit of a wiggle, probably a wheel off by Dam, as we're just coming through the West Horseshoe with GT4 traffic. There's a GT3 car not too far away either. But still, this has been a fantastic race all race long for the GT4 traffic between Dam and Schwenke. Had it not been for a pit road penalty, Carrito would have been up there too. And look at this, Zach Hebert comes across the line. He's going to bob and weave and take the checkered flag. Your winner for the first race of the season in LMP3. It's going to be Noah Hogg in GT3 holding off Neil Weston. He did close in, but not enough to make anything happen. Let's check out this GT4 battles. There's still plenty to play for between Dam and Schwenke. They make their way onto the oval. It's going to take a miracle for Travis Schwenke to catch up to Mike Dam, but for the most part, it's going to be all Mike Dam. A mistake we thought cost him the race, but he was able to persevere and get around to take the lead and eventually the win. Checkered flag is out. The Canadian Mike Dam is your winner in GT4.
Yeah, great win there from Dam. I mean, like we said, looked a little bit unpromising for him there after that incident earlier on, losing over 2 positions to a couple of the drivers, but thankfully managing to pull it all back. A great overtake on Schwenke on that outside line and pulls in first. But I mean, Hebert, first position overall, first position in LMP, 7 seconds of a gap to Crow, and Schwenkler 27 seconds behind. What a great win there for Hebert, and what a great way to start the Ricmotech Sportscar Challenge. I mean, what a dominant win for him. Hogg and Weston and like you mentioned, Weston just closing that gap towards the end, but not enough to make the difference. And I mean, I've got to say, Hogg really played the defensive strategy here today. We got to give him the applause that he did not let Weston get past, not even a singular time, to experience that leading of GT3 class. What an absolute domination shown there by all the drivers. And I mean, an incredible start to the season.
We're going to take a quick break, let the drivers get in and settle down, and we'll chat with our winners here on Apex Racing TV.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sportscar Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Welcome back to the Ricmo High-Tech Performance Sim Racing Equipment featuring their GT Pro pedals season opener here at the Daytona International Speedway. Race stewards are funded by the SCCA Foundation. Visit them at sccafoundation.org. Doesn't look like they had to do too much, but regardless, here are your standings. Zach Hebert with a dominant win in LMP3. He'll take the top step of the podium over Alex Crow and Robert Schwenkler. That's Bobby Childs and Pan Hydre with the top 5. And your GT3 winner, we saw that battle Tristan so much, but unfortunately, Neil Weston fell back just a little bit, but Noah Hogg, your winner there in the number 41 Porsche.
Yeah, and then behind him, Neil Weston takes second overall. Aaron Sunday was also having quite a good race in 8th position, and in 9th overall, Dale Maxwell. 4th in the class, though. 5th will take John Casey. 6th, Chris Hampton. Doug Klimovich takes 7th and 12th overall in this race. Mike Dam takes the lead for GT4, and he now leads that championship standings. Travis Schwenke, both of them having a great race for the Orion Racing team, as well as Robert Hartley for the Orion Racing team. So that's your top 3 for the GT4s. David Klimovich in the 5th position of your GT4s. Dan Carraday in 6th. And then Jeff Jacobs in 7th, and then a little bit of the unfortunate drivers who didn't get to finish this race. Joshua Vidal, who we saw have quite a bit of an incident there at the bus stop chicane, and down in 18th position overall in the LMP3s. Greg Brockway also very early on, unfortunately, having an incident in the tire barriers. That's 20th overall and the bottom of the GT3 class. But nonetheless, a great race and a great season opener for season number 7.
And with that in mind, let's bring in our overall winner, the driver of the number 511 LMP3. It was a dominant victory for the American, Zach Hebert, your winner here at Daytona for the first race of the season. As we'll bring him into the commentary box. And Zach, congratulations, first of all. Fantastic win. Let's talk a little about that, as you basically led from the drop of the green.
Zach, are you there?
Zach's on mute right now, so if we can get him back.
Apologize.
There we go. Hi, Zach.
Yeah.
That was a little strange, but regardless, great flag to flag victory, not bad.
Yeah. Basically, head down. With as unpredictable as the bus stop has become with the new scan, especially in the LMP3, it's basically you're not necessarily on your toes the whole race, but you're definitely thinking about it each lap. Where the old bus stop, you could kind of tune it out in some ways, just because it wasn't as punishing with the curbing with the old bus stop, but with the new one, especially with the LMP3, the right-hand drive combined with, you know, the sausage curbs on the left-hand side of the car, trying to, you know, shift over your perspective, definitely means you can't take your mind off of it at all. So, but again, just head down and drive as fast as you can.
And that's kind of the key here, especially at Daytona. I know we'll see the real life LMP3s take flight. I don't mean that literally this week at the Roar, but had some tough competition there early on. You're able to shake that off, opened up a massive lead, and then that was basically that, managing traffic. What was it like managing traffic around the GT3s?
The GT3s weren't bad. I've done another league that had GT3s as well. And again, it's all more or less about trying to set up the exit. Because again, we can all, you know, coming around the banking, obviously they'll have more top speed than us, which I think we kind of saw a little bit through the tri-oval there towards the front of the GT3 field. But again, by that point, I was actually wondering if we were going to catch them. To be completely honest, looking at the track map throughout the race, just with, you know, how far, you know, how similar in lap time, you know, we are and everything like that. But it's basically just about setting up exits and giving yourself enough room to generate that, you know, especially through the bus stop, giving yourself enough room to them in front, because they are very slow. They're considerably slower through the middle of the corner. Give yourself enough of a bumper to at least kind of get that slingshot out the front. And again, with the field being so spread out, they didn't, again, once you get past them on the oval, usually, again, I think with the one GT3 I had going into turn one, basically there's not much of a rush for them to try and, because they're not in a battle or anything, trying to get back by you, especially going into turn one. So again, traffic overall is pretty self-explanatory, but again, with the greater top speed that the GT3s have over the LMP3, it definitely does throw a wrinkle in there.
Regardless, a fantastic race for you. Great start to the season as well. You leave with the points lead. Hey, that's great. Anyone you want to thank?
Again, just another big shout out to the Echelon guys. There's probably a couple out there in the chat right now, but just for enabling me to represent them and take part in all these great leagues.
Congratulations to Zach Hebert, your winner here overall and in LMP3 at the Daytona International Speedway.
Appreciate you guys.
We'll send Zach Hebert back into the ether. Let's bring in our GT3 winner with Tristan Herbst.
Noah Hogg, you are live on Apex Racing TV. Welcome into the commentary box. I mean, talk us through that race win and that continuous fighting with Weston.
Yeah, it was pretty intense out there. Definitely a strong welcome to my league racing experience. But yeah, he was on me the whole race, especially in that field section. A lot better than my Porsche, but luckily it was able to get some legs on the straights around the high banks and made it happen.
And you and Weston, you both didn't take any form of a tire change in your pit stop. How did that affect you towards the end of the race? You know, what was the car telling you? What was it feeling like?
It was definitely the part I was most nervous about. I had a great little coach and spotters, deck, of course, champion of Ricmotech World Challenge last year. He was advising to go with no tires, and it made me definitely nervous. Kink and the bus stop were a bit hairy at times, but it worked out for sure.
Oh, that's great to hear. At least it worked out. But you do indeed head into the next round with the championship lead currently for GT3. How are you feeling going forwards after a win like today?
I'm just trying to soak it all in right now. The championship is definitely on the radar, but I didn't even think I would be here. So grateful for today, and we'll go forward from here.
And before you give your thanks, a big important question from my side: who designed that awesome livery of yours?
That was yours truly. So I appreciate the nod on.
Very, very nice. Yeah, we were looking at quite a bit of the time of the stream. It really does stand out, and it was great to see it up on the top spot of the podium. But is anybody you'd like to thank or mention before you head out?
Yeah, absolutely. My girlfriend Ashley, she's been super supportive, letting me do this, listening to rant and rave about doing this whole series. The boys over at Velocity Motorsports, Joe, Drake, Jasper, Logan, Ricky, all of them are watching tonight, so that's cool. And then of course Steven, he's fantastic at coaching, helping me with setups and talking that entire race. So they've been great.
Incredible stuff. Well done again on the lead for the GT3 Championship, and we look forward to seeing what you can do next.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
And that was Mr. Noah Hogg, your winner of the GT3 Championship. My goodness, he had such a strong fight there with Weston the entire time.
He really did, and yeah, like you said, that paint scheme just really popped here on the Apex Racing TV coverage. Haven't seen Mike Dam, so with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and throw a little bit of a checker flag on this. Tristan, your thoughts on this race? I thought it was an absolutely fantastic event.
Yeah, definitely so. The weather conditions were perfect for the racing, yeah, and I think it was probably the most ideal circumstance for a race opener here, especially for the debut of the GT3 class. And I feel like all three classes really merged well together here today, if you have to ask me. We had some great action and really good traffic management from all of the Ricmotech races over here. And I mean, I cannot wait to see what they can do again in the future.
Well, Ricmotech World Challenge kicks off next week at Daytona with a 75-minute race, season 15, with GTP's P2 and GT3 cars. Then in 2 weeks, the sports car drivers take set to Spa. They'll have a Spa day. It's an hour-long race. And then race 2 of the Ricmotech World Challenge takes place at Watkins Glen on the GP course for 75 minutes. That does it for us. My name's Jeremy Scott, Tristan Herbst alongside. Always great to have him here in the booth with me. And Jonathan Grabowski. Love having your work. You are the best. So for everybody here at Apex Racing TV, keep it pointed forward, keep it between the ditches, and always keep it greasy side down. We'll see you next time on Apex Racing TV.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.